Ari, you were talking earlier this week, kind of on your thoughts. We saw the Big Ten and the SEC kind of came together in the meeting of the minds and talked about having 4 automatic bids from each conference every year in the playoff, which to me signals, which we all know they're going to expand it to 16 at some point. Just kind of tell our audience who may not have caught that when you and Andy were talking about kind of your thoughts about it overall.
Yeah. So the thing that I think is funny is that it's like probably going to happen anyway, right? Like it's like guaranteeing something that is going to happen every year. Like we're doing bracketology and bubble watch stories every Sunday after the games are up. And like there are 6 or 7 even SEC teams right now that still are viably in the race. So I think that if it helps other conferences guarantee spots for themselves to take the deal, because it's going to happen that way anyway. But it's not something that I actually am all that fired up about, guys, because truthfully speaking, I don't know if sometimes I feel like I'm the only person on earth that views it this way, but like the college football playoff is a mechanism for crowning the national champion. And like we've lost track of that somehow. I don't know why. And the teams that are most invested and most likely to do that are in those 2 conferences. So giving them more bids that are automatic seems to make sense to me, because there are 12 to 15 teams viably in that position to win a national championship in a given year anyway, and 12 of them are in those conferences anyway. So like it's going to happen either way. Take the deal, get some extra spots for the ACC and the Big 12, so there's more inclusion for teams that have good years or are in a position to do that every now and then, and just let's just stop pretending like this isn't a national championship discussion.
Without a doubt, I agree with you 100%. To me, if that's what y'all came out of that with, I feel like you wasted your time. I think there's a lot of other stuff in college football y'all could have been talking about. It's also funny to me, Ari, that we play an NCAA basketball tournament that doesn't say the SEC gets this many teams in, the ACC or the Big Ten gets that many teams. They got like 70 teams now that can get in that thing. I'm for meritocracy. The teams that do the best need to get in. Like, I don't care what conference they're in or whatever. The teams that do the best need to get in. I do want to stay on that note, and this is something that we've talked about before I kick it over to DC. Outside of the SEC and the Big Ten, who do you think are a couple teams that can't just make the playoff, but could actually have a chance to win the national championship in the playoff, if there's any, in your opinion?
Oh, man. So I'm kind of a big team snob. People have, ranked me that way. And, personally speaking, when I look at the teams that I think can actually win the national championship or make some noise, the 2 that, or the one that stands out to me the most, that's not neither of those conferences, Miami, because Miami has built their lines very well under Mario Cristobal and has done a very good job of, stacking its roster with elite level skill talent that can actually compete. I think what you see a lot of times when, the Cinderella stories or the teams that aren't in that conferences get to that stage is that even if they've got very good lines, and this is true for most of the teams that are in those conferences too, and they start playing the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Georgias, that is get absolutely smoked by the depth and the skill talent that's around on the outside. And Miami, I think, has enough talent on its roster. If it gets hot and Cam Ward is good and doesn't turn the ball over with their receiving core, their defensive backs, and their running backs, to actually win a game or two. But like I don't think that the national champion is not going to be in one of those 2 conferences.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Dave, we know the line of scrimmage is where the game's won and lost. It's hard to go outside those 2 conferences. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Appreciate you guys stopping by as usual. Got another big weekend this weekend. And then 56 straight days of football starting on Thursday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all of it. We got the MLB playoffs, a ton going on. Make sure you're locked in.